Alright, guys, I'm gonna need some help with this one, I think. What in the world has happened to Eddie Alvarez? Eddie Alvarez and Demetrius Johnson went over to OneFC and made their debut this past weekend. Now, Mighty Mouse did exactly what we thought he was gonna do, but Eddie, I don't know, man. The Underground King just doesn't seem like the same Underground King we're all used to. I mean, you gotta think, this is a man that knocked out RDA, knocked out Justin Gaethje, he beat Anthony Pettis in the Showtime kick days. I mean, if he goes out there and performs against those guys like he did against this Timofey Nastyukhin guy, he'd still be laying on his back, knocked out. I mean, this man's truly a legend and goes out there and gets stopped by Timofey Nastyukhin, who comes into this fight at 13-4 with not a single notable win on his record, which, look, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's a great guy, he's a great fighter, he's a warrior, he's a scrapper, but I just can't bring myself to believe that Eddie Alvarez was completely there mentally, otherwise it just wouldn't have ended up like it did. I mean, Eddie looked like he had some great head movement. He was catching Timofey on his way out. It seemed like he was starting to put things together, but then you start seeing Eddie Alvarez lunge with his punches and immediately drop his hands when Timofey would go to throw a punch. I mean, it just did not look like the same Eddie Alvarez we're all used to seeing fight. I mean, other than the Conor McGregor fight, Eddie's one of those guys that always goes out there and looks sharp, looks on point, looks solid with his wrestling and his cardio. It just didn't seem like he had that same fluidity in this one. I mean, we gotta be real. The man's 35 years old and could definitely still kick all of our asses, but to go out there and get beat by Timofey Nastyukhin, who again came into this fight at 13-4 with not a single notable win on his record, has to be one of those fights that kind of makes you put things in perspective. I mean, he comes in and signs this huge contract with OneFC, then loses his very first fight against that guy. I don't know, man. I really hope this isn't the fight that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. I hope Eddie can rally back just like he always has and become the same Underground King that we all know and love. I just truly think a loss to Timofey Nastyukhin may be that one fight that makes Eddie truly consider figuring out what life after MMA will look like for him. I mean, this guy is and always will be a legend in the sport. I think he'll be a Hall of Famer. At only 35, it really sucked to see him walk away this early, but we have to remember, Eddie Alvarez has been in some serious wars in his career. Fights like he had with Justin Gaethje or Conor McGregor or Pettis for that matter can all make a massive impact on how strong your chin is and kind of where your mentality is going to be at for the fights following that. So, look, either way, even though he lost this fight to Timofey, we have to give Eddie Alvarez a ton of respect for what he's accomplished in the sport, and can just kind of hope that he pulls it back together and finds that warrior that embraces the grind in every single fight, and finds a way to push his opponents to the breaking point. That'll obviously be best for everyone involved, in my opinion. And on the other hand, I think people would truly understand if he did end up walking away after this last performance. But I also think that, the hardcore fans know he still has it in him, know he's still the same Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King, and maybe he just needs to find that drive again. Although I do want to say I'm a firm believer in not even beginning to consider stepping foot in the octagon again if your mind isn't 100% there that you're going to be champion and that you can go into that fight and win. If you have one foot out the door in your career, just like that talk that Joe Rogan had with Brendan Schaub a few years back, if you have one foot out the door, you're really doing more harm than good. There's permanent damage that can happen from these fights and getting punched in the head over and over and over again for your entire career, your entire professional career. So again, if Eddie Alvarez has any doubts in his mind that this isn't what he wants to continue doing, I truly think he needs to find something else to another outlet to make him happy like fighting did, and I hope that's not the case. I hope we see Eddie Alvarez back in the cage. This could easily just be a hiccup in his career and he could recover from it like he always has. So I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing kind of what comes from this, what happens with this Timofey guy's career. I mean, he just shot into stardom with one win. Again, 17 fights in his career, and the only one that has really mattered and got him notoriety is this one against Eddie, and he won it by first round KO. So I I hope it propels his career, and I hope Eddie's career doesn't go anywhere. I hope we see him stick around. I hope we see him fight a couple more times at least, and we'll go from there. But definitely let me know what you guys think about this story. What did you think when you saw the results? Did you ever think that it would end up this way? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. And again, guys, I know I say it, all the time, but I truly appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me lately. It means a lot to me personally. It means a lot to the channel and to the growth of the channel. And, the likes, the comments, the subscribing, it all means so much. So keep doing what you're doing, guys. Again, it means everything to the channel and myself. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.